I think Bitcoin has lost the plot. And when I started buying Bitcoin, and I've sold all of it, I bought the dip, and how I can't keep buying the dip. I have no money left to buy the dip. The dip, great. What do I buy the dip? Well, what am I going to pay for the dip? If I keep buying the dip, it keeps dipping. You got no money to buy the dip. You're out of dip.
This is the most bearish thing. I have zero desire. So last night I sold my Bitcoin. I sold my Bitcoin yesterday. I was holding a good amount of coins. I'm completely out of Bitcoin. 100% out of Bitcoin.
I sold all my Bitcoin, and I suffered absolutely massive financial losses.
Well, it's unwinding all of crypto. We're seeing Bitcoin collapse below $60,000 again. The fact that Michael Saylor is allowed to walk around free right now is absolutely criminal. Somebody needs to arrest him. If I see this guy, I'm going to perform a citizen's arrest and lock this guy up because this is absolutely fucking criminal, Michael.
So guys, you're welcome once again. Today we are looking at a major news here. This news talks about Bitcoin, the stock market, and whatever thing that is going on. As you can see, 5 major crypto enthusiasts and business personnel has really said it all about their current view on Bitcoin and stocks and their investments. Many of them really predicted, as you can see, they say they've taken out their money out of Bitcoin. But the clear truth of the matter is that Bitcoin as it now is really standing very, very tall. No matter the accusations and the drop downs it goes to. Quickly, I want us to rush through the market. But if you're new to our channel, do us a favor, smash on the like button, subscribe, give us a thumbs up that each time we drop news, you'll be the first to know. This crypto Lord Nathan. So fast forward here, last week I remember I brought it to you here so that we analyze the market here. This is about what? BTC, the stock market, BTC here. So in BTC, as you can see, the charts have really withdrawn here. Last week I remember I drew to you and I showed you something like big decision is about to be made, huge decision. This huge decision was to be made in the market and things were supposed to really go on as we are planning. But even as now, as I look at the current market, as I see and tell you, looking at the support zone I've drawn for you guys to see it clearly, you can see that there is something peculiar here that is about to happen. And this war that I'm saying is about to happen, is really happening at this point here that I'm talking to you about. So this place I've drawn is really a major current zone, because there is a support zone that is a blue line as I've shown to you, and the resistance zone that is the yellow line, all crossing to this place. Right now the market is still in a downtrend upon the 4 hours market view. This is very strange. What is the market really predicting? Is it that still we are looking at more down right now? The sellers are still taking it. I am hoping and still predicting that indeed, if it is anything or the market will bounce, we are looking at bouncing for it to bounce at this particular edge here. This particular edge here is what we are looking at, markets bouncing on this blue line, then perhaps crossing over to the resistance bar, perhaps breaking it. That's when we see bull run. Let's really look at current news, what exactly is other causes of these things, and then you really appreciate it well. Saylor says that if you are going to arrive early to a revolution technology and the first digital commodity monetized in the history of the world, you are going to be in the first bumpy ride. The only mistake you can only make is to acquire with a large leverage. That is what he's talking about here. A whole lot of things. Though people are really criticizing him, but he's still holding on to what he's saying here. Let's listen to the strategy founder.
If you're going to arrive early to a revolutionary technology that's and the first digital commodity that's monetized in the history of the world, you're going to be in for a bumpy ride. So Bitcoin has been a continually bumpy ride for the past many years. I think even since we got into the market, it's gone through nearly 3 cycles. And the only rational way to approach this is dollar cost averaging. If you acquired Manhattan in 1907 and 1913, in 1917, in 1921, in 1928, 1932, and 1947, and then another thing in 1953 and 57. And you ask someone, what was the right time to buy, and do you regret having bought, the top? I can't even remember which of those years were going to be the most efficient times to buy. Generally, the view is that once you find a good thing, you just want to consistently acquire more as cash flows allow you. The only mistake you can make is acquire it with so much leverage that you get force liquidated on a drawdown, and that's a mistake. You don't want to get stopped out. And then the other mistake is to stop acquiring, right? And in this particular case, if I look at all the options, there's no better option. Bitcoin is the least risky strategy that we can find.
Very good. Bitcoin is the least risky strategy that we can find per Michael Saylor speech here. Fast forward, I want to go forward and listen to another breaking news. As he said here, Michael Saylor says strategy's plan is to accumulate Bitcoin and hold it for next century. That's about 100 years. Why is he talking about here? Major people are talking about it that he might be selling his coins or the Bitcoin that he's having, the Bitcoin stocks as he has. Let's listen to what he has here.
This is the longest lived asset in the financial ecosystem with the least uncertainty. We're buying it to hold it 100 years. So that being the case, that $66,000 to $16,000 crash, that shook out the tourists, that shook out the non-believers. When it was 16,000, we were all ready to write it to zero. And that's what you'll find with the Bitcoin maximalists. So now we're writing it the other direction, and the protocol's working to everybody's benefit. There's just no reason why it shouldn't just keep adjusting up to find the marginal supply as the demand builds.
Thank you very much. As you can see, for a century is about 100 years, as he said. They are buying Bitcoin to hold for a century, which is not absolutely out of the predictions and the things people talk about. So clearly, I'm bringing to you latest news that is from the original source here. All right, guys, let's really move forward. And we all know Cathie. This woman has been a very big fan of the digital world. He's really impacting and really bringing to know a whole lot of things that is being neglected and not known. Today, he said something peculiar here concerning crypto for storage of values and everyday purchases and what is really going on. Let's listen. These 2 minutes will be very, very important for you to pay attention.
21 million units. We're up to 20 million that have been minted. Only 1 more million to go. So the scarcity value is there. And if you look at Bitcoin relative to even gold, gold supply increases at roughly 1% per year. And it might be more than that in the next few years because of what has happened to the price recently.
Right.
Bitcoin is mathematically metered. There will be no supply response. It's just mathematically metered. And right now it's increasing at 0.9% roughly per year. The supply is, which is lower than gold's long-term. And in the next 2 years will be down to 0.45% increase per year. So there's real scarcity value evolving now.
So that brings me to this Bitcoin gold comparison, or rivalry, if you will. It felt like we just had this sort of some economic issues here in this nation and around the world, and it was sort of the moment of truth. It was what Bitcoin was designed for. It was what crypto was designed for. Bitcoin went down and gold erupted higher, and so a lot of people felt maybe that first big moment of truth when they were ready for the close-up, they weren't ready for the close-up.
Yeah, what's interesting is if you look over time, and I'll say since 2019, when institutions started considering this new asset class, you'll find a very low correlation between gold and Bitcoin, digital gold. Very low correlation. It's 0.14. So almost no correlation. But if you zoom back and you look at a chart, what you will find is in the last two cycles, gold has actually led Bitcoin. So it is very interesting in recent weeks how they've exchanged places.
So for the past 2-3 years, as Cathie said, gold has actually led Bitcoin, which is the normal phenomenon and then the things we already know. Okay, but as you can see, she talks about the scarcity of Bitcoin, which is really true. Right now, about 25 million coins are sold to be entirely mined or purchases. As at now, it's left with 1 million coin that is left for it to be mined to purchases, and we are looking at least for the year ending or the next year, the 1 million coins will be already mined, and then the rates at which it will be, demand ratio will really go higher. Lastly, I want you to listen to this news. It's very, very important that you need to. Strategy is going bankrupt. Peter Skerf just said this today. Saylor's response, he already gave it 2 months ago. You can't pay a dividend on preferred stocks that will create an inventory event. Translation, preferred stocks does not force bankruptcy. If strategy can't pay the dividend without becoming insolvent, the dividend gets suspended. That is all. But there is the part people keep missing. If Bitcoin goes up 2%, we can pay the dividend forever. If you don't think Bitcoin can average 2% a year, why are you still even looking at preferred equity in a Bitcoin company? This is really strange. Let's listen to some of this important news here.
Well, I describe it as a Ponzi scheme, and that's pretty much what it is. But strategy now as an entity, and I've been saying for a long time that I do expect the company to ultimately go bankrupt, and that's pretty much what's going to happen.
What happens if the company can't pay that? Well, by law, you can't pay a dividend on a preferred stock that would create an insolvency event for the issuer. Like, the board has to approve the dividend. So you understand, like, it's literally impossible. It is literally impossible to create an insolvency or to bankrupt an issuer of a preferred stock. So people worry, but whereas if you basically borrowed $1 million from an exchange, they wipe you out in 1 minute. You're gone. But in this particular case, in 27 years, after a parade of 947 horribles, right? If the company couldn't pay the dividend without being insolvent, it would suspend the dividend for 12 weeks.
That's all he said. Spend the dividend for 12 weeks. So I think we'll end here. Thank you very, very much for keeping updates on Crypto Lord Nathan's. If you like what you do, don't forget to smash on the subscribe button. See you in the upcoming videos. Bye for now.